Thank you, Tom. Hello, class. Today is Wednesday, June the 8th. You're listening to PLAR History and Geography here at WASA. My name is Jonathan. I am your teacher for this course. You may have been wondering where's Andrea's PLAR English. This is her normal time slot, but she already did her class Monday and Tuesday. So as you notice, we have switched time slot, which means that today will be PLAR History and Geography, and we'll be doing a back-to-back class tomorrow, so today and tomorrow, at our normal time slot as well. So again, today, right now, PLAR History and Geography, and tomorrow we'll continue at our normal time slot at 4 o'clock local time with PLAR History and Geography as well. Just to clear it up, hopefully there's no confusion. You can find Andrea's PLAR English on the archive page, or you can also find it on her Facebook page if you are looking for that. But right now, we're focusing on history and geography today and tomorrow. We are entering week number 8 class. The end is almost there. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel almost, which means that we have only a week left. So after this week is all done, next week, week 9, and that will be it. So which means there are only 7 more days left in the school year. So today, Thursday, Friday, next week, week 9, and then that's it. Term 2B will be done. Okay, so again, class, I want to encourage everyone once again to continue to work on those assignments. Again, don't be discouraged. Continue to work hard on it. Do as much as you can. The deadline to submit any work is June the 17th, which is a Friday. The deadline to submit any PLAR work or any assignments. So again, if you want to write any tests or do any assessments, again, make sure you do it before this due dates. So again, finish up those assignments as soon as you can. That way we can write the tests and finish it up the year and a term before this due date of Friday, June the 17th. Again, it should be circled in a calendar. I'm pretty sure it's posted in your learning center as well. Again, any question, talk to your DC, talk to myself, and we can clear that up. So yesterday I was in Weberquay, got back earlier this afternoon, like a few hours ago. Great trip. Linda and myself went. We hosted the 25th year anniversary celebration at the gym in Weberquay. Meredith did a fantastic job of hosting. We had a lot of food, a lot of great prizes, which was fantastic. We had tons of people came out, probably around 60 or 70 people from the community came out, which is fantastic, which is great to see. We also had a few alumni students who graduated from us with WASA in the past, did some encouraging speeches, word of encouragement, which is great to see as well. So I want to thank the community of Weberquay for allowing me and Linda into your community. Great visit. Everyone is super nice, super welcoming, and I really had a good time. So again, class, again, Andrea took my time slot yesterday where she did her PLAR English. Okay, so which means that I'll be taking her time slot right now, doing a PLAR History and Geography. Again, tomorrow we'll be back on normal, back on a regular schedule, and hopefully there will be no more confusion as well. So again, back-to-back classes today and tomorrow, and then week 8 will be done. Just to remind students and everyone else, feel free to call in and participate. Again, you can listen by radio, simply by just listening, 91.9 FM, or feel free to call in the WASA studio. You can get your DC to help you out with that. Again, 1-800-465-7144. If you want to listen, participate, call in, listen, engage, ask questions. If you need any help or whatnot, again, we're live right now in studio. That way I can help you as well. If not, that's okay. You know how we roll. Again, feel free to give me a call during my office hours. Or simply just leave a message when I'm not there. You can always get your DC to email your assignments, fax it, scan it. They know what to do. Again, email. If you have any questions, again, send me an email. And you can also find me on social media, Facebook. Again, Jeho Wasa. Again, add me as a friend. I would love to have more friends on my page as well. So again, just add me as a friend. You can also inbox me if you have any questions. I will simply just reply. I can send you your mark sheet, attach it as well. Lots of engagement back and forth. Okay. Again, same old routines. No new changes there. Where are we at in this course? Well, class, if you have been following along, we are currently on lesson number 5 in the geography portion of this course. We're almost done. There's probably 3 more topics that we need to go over before this course is done or before the term is done. We got a lesson today, another lesson tomorrow. We'll probably do one more on Tuesday of week 9, and then we'll wrap things up next Thursday. Go over some expectation for the test and exam, and we'll close it all out. Again, feel free to log on to your smart Bridget. Again, hopefully internet access is working in your community. That way you can log on to the smart Bridget, see our screen live, another way to engage in class as well. Again, there's many ways to get help. Again, if you want a USB stick with all the lessons and notes, we can also send that on the Express, absolutely for free. Okay. All right. So today, class, we got a somewhat of a short lesson. We may do a little music break halfway through, just to change things up a bit. But we'll see how it goes from there. So let's get to today's class and let's get to our learning goals and our expectations for today. So again, class, we are looking at geography, not human geography, but we are looking at physical geography still within lesson number 5 in your textbook. We're on page 60 if you want to follow along and circle or highlight anything that you may find important in your textbook. But our topic and our focus for today is the environment. Okay, we'll define the environments in a bit, but our focus today is mainly the environment, but more specifically, a main topic that's impacting us today, nowadays, and that's no other than climate change and global warming. Whether you believe it or not, whether it's happened or not, again, we'll be talking about climate change, global warming, cause and effect, and how that impacts us. So let's write all that out before we get started. Our learning goals and our expectations, that we know what we're following along. All right, learning goals. So again, we'll be dealing with the environment. We'll kind of define that or look closely at the components within their environment. Again, we'll be looking at Kyoto Protocol, what their intent and goal was to establish in order to combat climate change and global warming. As you may have guessed, as I emphasize once again, global warming. And climate change, which can be linked as well. Climate change. Whether you believe it or not, whether you may have experience or not, again, feel free to call in, share your stories. We can debate about it if you like, whether you believe it or not. But that's our main focus for today, the environment, what surrounds us, Kyoto Protocol, why that was significant, why was that put in place, and again, global phenomenon that's happening nowadays. Again, global warming, climate change. We hear it all the time in the media, in the news, every single day, whether it's happening or not. Again, we'll discuss more about it and how that impacts us and the cause and effect, and what we can do as individuals, as students, that we can help prevent these changes in our atmosphere. Okay, so that's our learning goals for today. So let's get started. We'll do a few slides. and then we'll do a little bit of music break afterwards, just to change things up a little bit. All right, the four components of the environment. Again, you'll see this in your textbook. You'll see it again in your assignments coming up. So again, I almost forgot. We'll go over assignment number 14 near the end of this class. Go over those questions so that we all know what they all entitle. Alright, so now let's actually begin our lesson. Let's start talking about a few things. Four components of the environment. Again, you can find this in your textbook at the very, very top of page 60 as well. So again, if you want to go back and refresh, it's there, page 60. The four components of the environment are simply 1, the atmosphere, 2, the hydrosphere, 3, the lithosphere, and 4, the biosphere. So those are the four components of the environment, or what consists or make up of the environment. So the atmosphere simply is just the air that we breathe in. Again, we know that air is critical and substantial for life. Without air, we cannot breathe and live. So the atmosphere around us is simply just the air. Okay, again, we need good quality, clean air. Support all living species, humans, plants, animals. So the atmosphere is what's around us. It's simply just the air that we breathe in. So again, note the name and what it stands for. Okay, so make that connection as well. Okay, so the name and the connection, the atmosphere, and simply in other words, the air. Okay, so that's simply the atmosphere. Number 2, hydrosphere. Hydro simply water in a way. So hydrosphere simply is water, and it can be absolutely any kind of water. Okay, again, make that connection. Hydrosphere, lithosphere. Make sure you know the difference or the two names and how they link. Again, water. Again, the water is also critical and substantial for life. We need to drink lots of water throughout the day. 8 glasses of water or so. Again, we need good, clean water to drink. Again, not just humans and people, but again, we need to take into account animals needs water, plants needs water. Where water comes from, again, it could be lakes, oceans, streams, rainfall, snow, any kind of liquid or precipitation can be considered as the hydrosphere or water. Okay, water. Again, very important component of the environment. And next, number 3, the lithosphere. Again, once again, make that connection. Lithosphere, Earth's crust. So lithosphere simply means the Earth's surface or the land that we lived on. The Earth's crust, simply just the land that we live on. In terms of indigenous content, we know that land, community, people, it all relates back to one another and how that's important. Okay, so the land, how we use it, how we protect it, how we conserve it, all part of the atmosphere. We live on the lithosphere, the Earth's crust, the Earth's surface. Again, it could be rocks, could be any gravel, streets in our community, roads. Again, that's all fall under the lithosphere. Again, all part of our environment. Okay, and then that surrounds us pretty much. And lastly, class number 4 is simply the biosphere. Bio simply means any living species. Okay, anything that's living. Again, we need to take into account people, human, okay, all genders, male, female, okay, the young ones, the youth, adolescents, teens, elders in our communities, people, okay, animals, all kind of animals, insects. Again, it could be a bear, a beaver, fish, any kind of living species, animals considered under a biosphere. Plants, again, tree, grass, any kind of type of tree, any kind of flower. Again, anything that's living is considered a biosphere. So these are the four components of the environment. And what's interesting and important to note is that all four components link back to one another. You cannot live without one component in most cases. So let me give you an example, class. Uh, let's think of an eagle. I know that eagle is very important animal in terms of indigenous content. Wausau's logo is an eagle to an extent. Okay, so let's use an eagle as an example. Again, an eagle, it flies through the atmosphere, which is the air. Okay, in other words, an eagle is simply a biosphere. It is an animal, it is living, it is considered a biosphere. Okay, and that eagle, it flies through the atmosphere, it breathes the air, it uses the air, and it simply drinks water, or any kind of bird drinks water. Again, that falls under the hydrosphere. So again, we cannot live one component without the other. Okay, see how we made that connection? Again, or people, the biosphere, they live on the land, which is the lithosphere. Again, we drink water, hydrosphere, we need air to breathe. Okay, so if we impact one component, it will critically influence and have a negative consequence onto another atmosphere. So again, if we have unclean water, again, that impacts the biosphere, for example, or high quality of air, again, that impacts us as well. Okay, so again, class, what we need to remember specifically is the name of each component and how it all relates to back now. So for example, atmosphere, air, hydrosphere, water, lithosphere, Earth's crust, biosphere, plants, animal, and people. Okay, so again, note all the four components and how they're significant as well. Moving along to our next slide, which is entitled, How do people impact the atmosphere? How do people impact the atmosphere? Does anyone remember what the word atmosphere stands for? Any hints? Any clue what does atmosphere stands for? It's not water. It's not people or living species. But atmosphere is simply another word for air. So if you have guessed air, you are correct. Okay, so every time we use the word atmosphere, think of the air. Air around us, air that we breathe in, atmosphere. In other words, how do people impact the air? How do people impact the atmosphere? Well, there are a couple of factors and some to take into account. One, we know that global warming is actually happening. Again, whether we believe it or not, again, we hear it all the time. There's a great debate. Some say yes, some say no. Again, we hear it all the time in the news. We see it on Facebook and social media. We see it on the radio, TV. It's everywhere throughout the media. However, what people actually debate about is whether or not global warming or climate change is happening quickly, more rapidly, or not. But how is that all come into play is that it's simply we as people, we kind of impact the atmosphere. So simply carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere, the air. That can be done by burning fossil fuel and other human activities as well. And these gases get trapped in our air, which is the atmosphere, which in a way causes the Earth to warm up. And this is known as global warming. Global warming. So again, whether we're driving our trucks or our cars, again, all that fuel emission that we burn from our vehicles, that is in a way burning fossil fuel. Again, from that, it releases carbon dioxide. Again, that gas and other chemical gases gets trapped in the atmosphere, and eventually it causes the Earth to warm up, and this is known as global warming. In other words, global warming simply means the average temperature of the Earth's surface is increasing. It's increasing. So how do we know it's increasing? Again, whether we believe or not, I'm going to list some examples right now. I'm going to write it all out on our screen. And maybe or not, it could change your influence. So again, we can start to see increase in temperature. Again, you may experience this in your community where it may be warmer than usual, give or take. Um, you may have experienced less snow, for example, where it's constantly warmer throughout the whole year, but there are scientific data out there that the Earth's surface is actually increasing. Here's another example that I can write out. The Earth's surface, or the average temperature of the Earth, has increased by 0.4 to 0.8 over the past 100 years. Which may not seem a lot, but we take all that into account, it can be pretty significant. Again, we can start to see decrease in snow. I know that some people in Silicon have mentioned that this past winter, we have experienced less snow compared to other years. Again, we can make that argument, we can make that debate. Again, different communities, again, you may have the same situation where you may experience less snowfall compared to others. The rise in sea level. Again, scientific data out there that the sea level is constantly rising due to glaciers from the north is melting. We have experienced more extreme weather. Again, that can simply mean anything. It could be more downpour rain. It could be more hurricane, tornadoes, earthquake, heat wave. Again, you may not necessarily just experience these in our communities, but we need to take account around the world as well. So all those natural disasters that we see in the media, again, those are slowly increasing. We may experience more extreme weather. Again, all effects of global warming. Again, another example is early. You see early flowers on trees or in plants. Again, other factors as well. So again, something that you may notice as well in our communities. We start to see flowers start to bloom and grow more earlier throughout their growing season on our trees as well. So again, just some examples that I have listed here. Again, you may have experienced it, you may have seen it, but again, that all taken out all into account, you may have seen global warming or climate change. So what was done, again, this is just not something that's new. This has been going on for years and years. So what happened was that in the late 90s, an international agreement known as the Kyoto Protocol. The Kyoto Protocol. Okay, this in your textbook on there's an article on page 60 as well that talks more about Kyoto. So the Kyoto Protocol was signed in 1997, but it didn't take into effect until 2005. It was reached upon in 1997, but it didn't really take into full effect until 2005. So the Kyoto Protocol simply nations like Canada and other nations around the world gather in Japan and they start to discuss global warming. They started to discuss that, hey, it's happening, um, the effects of it, how we can decrease it, what we can do to help it, what we can do to prevent it in the future. So that was the goal of the Kyoto Protocol. But actually, the actual goal was simply what came out of it was a mandatory cut in greenhouse gas emissions, and it reinforces regulations to commit to a cleaner air. That was the goal. They acknowledged that yes, greenhouse gases play into a role into global warming. It's out there, it's happening. We need to do something in terms of policies and regulations so that we can help prevent it and reduce it in the future. So other countries like Canada and rest around the world, they committed to a cleaner air. But however, not everyone agreed upon the Kyoto Protocol. Again, some agreed, some disagreed. One country that didn't agree was the United States. Again, we know that the United States, our neighbor down south, is a big country, lots of people, huge population, very urban, lots of workers. We know that as a result of them, they play a role in global warming and a lot of greenhouse gas emissions as well. But they did not sign onto the Kyoto Protocol. By the United States and other countries such as Australia who not sign on to the Kyoto Protocol, it made it hard for other nations, small nations around the world, to justify by signing on to the Kyoto Protocol. Simply, it's hard to join if the United States did not join. Okay. Again, we know that the United States, they produce a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. We know that other countries around the world do it as well. Here in Canada, but Canada, we signed on to it and we agreed upon it. So what the actual goal was with the Kyoto Protocol, the goal was to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 5% of what it was in 1990. They want to reduce it by 5% of what it was in 1990 by the year of 2008 to 2012. That was the goal. Again, whether or not countries and nations around the world achieved that goal was another question. But the answer to that question was that Canada and some other countries did not meet the goal of 5% of what it was in 1990. Again, the Kyoto Protocol is just the first step in the right direction in order to help prevent global warming. It is not the answer. Again, it is just the first step in recognizing that global warming, climate change is an actual thing, that we must do something, but we must take further actions to prevent global warming. Okay? So again, what we need to remember is that what the goal of the Kyoto Protocol was, again, a mandatory cut in greenhouse gas emission, reinforce regulations, commit to a cleaner air. But what made that difficult was that a country like and the size of the United States did not agree upon it, again, which made it hard for other countries to justify as well. So how does climate affect us? Again, we talked a lot about global warming and climate change, but how does it affect us? Whether it's increasing at a more rapid rate than others. But again, it impacts us by the food we grow. Again, we may have longer growing seasons. We can now grow food and vegetables in other regions around the world. Now compared to before, the food that we eat, food that we grow, it impacts us in terms of clothing. Again, if it's warm out, kind of like right now, you may be wearing shorts, flip-flops, putting on some sunscreen compared to wearing your heavy winter jackets. So again, you may not wear your heavy winter jackets more or less, give or take. So again, that impacts our clothing as well. The type of shelter we build and live in, again, whether or not we need heating or air condition, again, what climate affect us as well. Okay, if it's slowly increasing, again, you may see more people at the beaches wearing t-shirts and shorts and sunglasses and flip-flops compared to wearing jackets, gloves, toques, and all those other factors as well. Again, something to take into account. By human actions and human activities are causing climate to change more quickly or rapidly than ever before. That is a fact, that is true. Human actions are causing climate change to change more quickly than ever before. Okay? But before we look at the pros and cons of climate change, let's take a little break right now. Let's have a little music break for about 2-3 minutes or so, and then we'll get back right into it. So after these tunes, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, class. After that short little music break, thank you, Bertha. Again, if you know that song that was playing, even though you didn't hear it, oh, never mind then. Never mind. Anyways, we're gonna continue with our lesson today. We got a few more slides left, and then we'll get to assignment number 14. Go through those questions and clear up any confusions as well. So let's look at the pros and cons of climate change. Again, this is from page 61 to like 64 in your textbook. Again, I just summarized the next few slides so that it's easier to understand, easier to comprehend about the pros and cons of climate change. Again, it's not always bad. There are some positive sides that we can take into account. But again, we also need to look at the negative consequences of climate change as well. So let's start off with the good, then we'll get with the bad. So the pros of climate change. Well, simply, I got 2 on my screen. If you know any more, feel free to let me know. We can simply add it to our screen. But the pros of climate change is simply cold and frozen regions around the world, such as Serbia, Arctic, and Antarctica, may experience milder climate and more plant growth than before. And they may also have experienced longer growing seasons than before. So again, they can see that as a positive, where they can have longer growing season, where farmers can grow more agriculture and vegetables and vegetation longer. Again, that can increase profit, productivity in the communities as well. So again, depending on how we see things, that can be seen as a positive. Okay, again, less cold temperatures. Again, no one's complaining about that. But frozen regions around the world, such as Serbia, Arctic, and Antarctica, may experience milder climate and more plant growth than ever before. And they may have also have experienced longer growing season. Again, great for farmer, great for in your garden. Again, that can be seen as a positive as well. Again, class, if you know any more positive or can think of any more positives, feel free to just add it to my list as well. So let's get to the cons of climate change. In other words, negative sides or the consequences of climate change. And again, class, as you can see on my screen, there are more cons than pros. So let's take that into account as well. So some consequences or the negative side effects of the Earth increasing in its temperature is simply higher sea level is increasing. Again, we talked about that, which can lead to more floods. Again, that's a big no-no. Again, coastlines on shores around our communities and cities are diminishing, again, which leads to a higher sea level rising due to more melted snow and glaciers up north. Again, that can lead to floods. Again, our floods in our communities can be flooded. Again, that's a big no-no. We don't like to see that happen. Deserts, we know that deserts are simply hot and dry, but with climate change, it can even get more hotter and more drier. So deserts can even get more drier. Uh, Again, that can impact simply just the land formation, the soil. Okay, if the soil is not getting any good water, it's gonna be dry, not good for growth. So again, impacts the land as well. Leads to less food growth or shortage. Again, depending on how we look at things, if it's increase in temperature, some countries may not be able to grow. Some may be able to grow, but it may be too hot to grow, and other factors as well. Simply more disease and illnesses. Again, that's a big one. Again, who knows what kind of disease and infection and viruses can grow from climate change. So again, more people can be sick. It could be anyone, the youth, the infant, especially our elders. Again, heat wave. Okay, heat warning, a heat wave, heat stroke, heat exhaustion. Again, those are all factors as well. Again, asthma, allergies. Again, all that can lead to disease, sickness, and even death as well. So again, something that we need to take into account. Again, more extreme weathers, more storms. Again, more rain, more lightning, tornadoes, hurricane, earthquakes. Again, heat waves, humidity. Again, all those need to take into account as well. Again, that can impact simply the land. It can destroy our community. It can wipe out our community. All those other factors as well. So again, all those leads to climate change or the cause of climate change. Again, heat wave we talked about. Pollution, simply the air quality that we breathe. There's more pollution. It's gonna get hotter. The air quality may not be as clean. So again, it all goes back into health as well. But again, all that just doesn't impact people. But again, we need to take account our pets, animals, plants. They can all be extinct as well. Okay, some animals and species can adapt to the increase in temperatures, whereas some may not. So, for example, polar bears can be endangered as well. Okay, they cannot quickly adapt to the climate change. The habitat might be affected. They need to go to a different area to hunt. So again, it can lead to extinction as well. So again, lots of factors to take into account when looking at the cons or the negative side of climate change. Again, all these can impact the land, our community, people, us, and things that we live and love around us. So let's take that into account. So how do we deal with climate change? I got two factors that I have listed. These are not in your textbook, but again, I just list them as well. So how do we deal with climate change? One factor is called mitigations, and that simply means taking actions to reduce the problem. Okay, we can do something absolutely every single day in our community, in our lifestyles to help reduce climate change. Again, some examples are simply reduce greenhouse gases. Again, that could be less factories, less cars, whatnot. Switch from fossil fuel to solar and wind power. Again, solar and wind power, get some wind turbines. Use that's what's out there, the sun, the wind. Again, solar power and wind power. We can drive more efficient cars. So if you have an old truck that takes up a lot of gas to burn a lot of fossil fuel, again, that may not be very effective. Again, we can switch to like more environmentally friendly car, a hybrid car. We can take public transit instead of everyone taking their cars. So yeah, I know that public transit could be in Thunder Bay. Simply just biking. If you have a bike, a rollerblade, a scooter, we can bike or walk even to our communities or to our school, to our learning center. So all these take into account. We don't necessarily need to drive everywhere. If we can walk or bike, again, that helps reduce greenhouse gases. Simply turn off the light. Again, no need to waste energy. If we have good sunlight and natural sunlight, why not use it? So again, open those curtains, let the sunshine come in. Plant more trees to absorb greenhouse gases. Again, plants and trees, they absorb all those toxins and negative air, and they produce more oxygen. And simply just reduce, reuse, and recycle. Again, we know that garbage waste in our dumps creates greenhouse gases. So again, paper, plastic, bottles, cans, do whatever we can, reuse it, reduce it, and simply just recycle it. Okay, again, all these factors that we can do every single day to help reduce greenhouse gases and climate change. That's called mitigations. Adaptation, or simply the word adapt, simply means that we acknowledge change. We acknowledge that climate change is real, is out there, and we must adjust or change to the new situation. Okay, we can't argue with it. Scientific data is out there. We must change or adjust our lifestyle to the new climate change. So, for example, why not take advantage of the new climate? If it's more warmer out there, let's start growing more. We can start our gardens, our growth more, so more crops in new climate change. We can simply expand healthcare to treat health problems caused by weather. Again, we know that extreme weather is going to happen at some point, so why not get a head start, plan from it, do something about it. Again, example could be Fort McMurray with a huge wildfire. Again, the cause of that can be argued by climate change. Again, so you need to take that into account as well. Simply build more parks and space to cool off. Again, this is key for our elders and our younger ones. A place where they can play and cool off, more cooling centers or whatnot. Again, those are all adaptations or adapt, where we need to adjust and change to the new situation that has been given. But simply words, why should you care about climate change? In other words, it affects the planet, it affects the environment, it affects our economics and social political factors, and it simply affects our health. Okay, there can be a lot of health consequences if we don't take into account climate change. Again, all this climate change, global warming, it's all happened by burning fossil fuel, clear cutting, where we chop down forests, and simply just human everyday activities. But again, government and businesses can get involved as well. So again, everyone can take a stance and do something to help reduce global warming and climate change. Simply by increased energy efficiency standards, encourage the use of renewable energy like solar and wind, and simply protect and restore forests that are lost. Again, it all goes back into protection, conservation, the biosphere reserve, where we need to just protect, preserve, maintain, so that we have it in the future. So again, the government can play a role, businesses, our school, our leaders, people, anyone can do a little bit something to help reduce global change. Because if we don't, our beautiful green earth may just simply be a picture or a memory. So let's get to questions on assignment 14. Pretty straightforward assignment. No surprises here. So assignment 14 is out of 15 marks. Question number 1. Name and describe the 4 components of the environment. Okay, so simply tell me what it is and what does it stand for and describe it. Okay, simply a simple mark each. Question number 2. What does global warming mean? And why should we be concerned? Okay, why should we be concerned about its effect on the Earth? So what is global warming? Again, tell me what it is. How does that happen? What is it? Again, it's simply the increase in temperature. Okay, and why should we be concerned? Again, affects our planet, affects our environment, affects our economy, and it simply affects our health as well. More extreme weather, all those factors come into play. Okay, so what is global warming? What does it mean? And why should we be concerned? Question number 3. Name the agreement that has been drafted by international community to address global warming. Hint, hint. The Kyoto Protocol. Hint, hint. Again, page 60 in our textbook. And what was this agreement designed to do or to accomplish? In other words, what was the goal of the Kyoto Protocol? Okay. And what was holding it back by actually enforcing it to an extent? Hint, hint, the United States did not sign. Okay? So there you go, right there. I pretty much helped and assist with the question number 3. Okay? So in other words, tell me what the Kyoto Protocol was, what was designed to do, its goal and its purpose, and what was stopping it by enforcing it, who didn't sign it, and why. Okay, and why. Okay, do not say do not sign it, but why. Again, you can find that in our textbook on page 60. Page 60. And last question, question number 4. What can we do as individuals to reduce global warming? Again, there are tons that we can do. Okay, what we can do to reduce global warming. Okay, list off a few things that we can do to reduce global warming. Again, you can find it in our slides. You can find it in our textbook as well. Okay, class? So that is assignment number 14. Again, if you have any questions or need any help, again, just let me know. Remember, I'm here to help. My goal is to help everyone to finish their assignments by the due date. Okay, so keep that in mind. So that's pretty much wraps up today's class. I think we're going to stop it here for today. So tomorrow, when we're back at our regular time slot, we'll be talking about mainly protection and conservation and pollution. Again, in a way, another short lesson tomorrow, in a way. So again, protection, pollution, conservation is the goal for tomorrow. We'll wrap things up next week, week 9. We're looking at latitude and longitude, and then we'll look over some expectation for the exam and tests, and that'll be it for this term and for this course. Okay, class? So I will see everyone back here tomorrow at our regular time slot. Okay? Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.